So there is a book that accurately tells what's going on when we are creating. This book was written with so much love and curiosity. It's called The Creative Act, A Way of Being by the producer Rick Rubin. For some of us, this was a game changer. And for me, it was maybe a recognition, a magical recognition of what is going on when I'm working every day. Things became clear. And I'm really curious if this book is only interesting for artists or maybe for more people, because as Rubin writes in this book, creativity is not an ability only linked to artists. We all own this ability. It's a human ability, and I think you can learn from this book when you open your mind. There are some remarkable passages in this book, and they're worth sharing with you, so that's what I'm going to do in this video. Let's start with the first eye-opener. Don't look for it. This is really an essential start to find everything you need as a creator. When you are looking for something you lost, you often won't find it. You will find something else you lost. When creating art, we get ideas and we look for a way to show them, and we have to express our emotion about it as well. The way to do this asks a lot of time, labor and patience. And most of us will agree that we finally find our style or technique somewhere we never expected before. Here we see the front and the rear sides of a painting. In 2010, the Dutch artist Ilona Visser was asked for a first commissioned portrait of a well-known sculpture. When the sculpture was going to the hairdresser, Ilona told his wife to keep her husband's hair. Ilona's idea was to create a portrait with this real hair like a filled plate. It didn't work. Ilona tried other techniques to use the hair, and finally she ended up with the real hair sewn on a canvas, but wasted everything and she threw it away, frustrated. But then something happened she didn't expect.
I put his hair on a canvas so I could have it attached and later on put it around a frame or something, so I would have a carrier for the image.
Yeah, I understand how it should have looked.
So the top side was white and grey and black hair threads, and it looked a bit boring actually. It was a very neat kind of drawing with threads. It was like like a quilt. It didn't have anything to say. It was just an image, and I was very annoyed and disappointed, and I threw it away. And then it was lying on its backside up. And my husband came in and he said, "That's quite nice you made there." "Oh, no. It's I wasted everything and the hair is gone." And then I looked around and it was lying on the backside, and the backside was really, really amazing.
You saw that too.
And interesting.
So it was.
Yeah. And because I had such an urge to get this done, and then you start again and you see the looking and the longing in every stitch for the image, and it was there on the backside. So that's how I work now. And I'm looking for what can a thread tell more than just the line. When do you get some extra space, or leave it hanging, or get it around, or sometimes I stop the upper thread and it's gonna like that, and then you get a nice black dot.
Yeah.
That's also sometimes it helps the image.
Yeah.
And it's always about the tension of what do I need to do to get a hold on the image, and on the other hand, leave the image as such, and the threads itself tell the story.
Yeah. So what makes you happy then in this whole process? The result?
Yeah, the result.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. The line between if you do hard labor and if you do excessive things, like I threw away a lot of thread. I do too much, but actually I'm looking for when there's done just enough, and that just enough can express an emotion or evoke an emotion, but with the viewer you see togetherness or loneliness or stubbornness or vulnerability. So it's if I can read something back like those emotions, then it makes me happy.
Yeah.
It can give me, like now, the chicken skins.
Yeah. Ilona Visser couldn't know she was working on the wrong side of a painting until she destroyed it and threw it away. "Don't look for it" is one of the first lines in Rick Rubin's creative act. If we want to find our strengths and qualities, we don't have to do our best, but to be aware of the possibilities presenting themselves. I once read an interview with a singer-songwriter who told that her best lyrics were the notes she scribbled somewhere next to the lyrics as a reminder. These turned out to become the best lyrics she used for her songs. The solution is not made by us, it's found in the creation itself, or somewhere between us and the creation. We should take care that we don't get ourselves in the way. There was a time that I found myself more staring out the window than working on my watercolor painting. And I always felt guilty about this. I felt guilty because I thought I had to do my best and to work harder and focus more on the painting than on the window that couldn't tell me anything about my watercolor painting that I was doing. Reading Rubin's book made clear for me why I was used to do that, and still I'm really lucky when a layer of a wash and a watercolor painting needs its time to dry so I can stare out the window. This is only about the balance between the consciousness and the unconsciousness. The unconsciousness is able to solve problems, write lyrics, for example. And there is a way with our consciousness to let the unconsciousness do this. It's like meditating with a mantra, where students learn to use a mantra. And this mantra is actually the distraction, so they focus on the mantra. That's a distraction in their meditation, and then the unconsciousness can do its work. It can be a meditation, but it can be driving your car, doing the dishes, cycling, walking as well. It's only about finding your balance between these two. And the funny thing is that no one can tell what the balance is. You have to find it by yourself. You can't explain it. You just find it because you know it. And another funny thing is that when you find the balance, this won't never be the perfect balance. It's the balance for today, for this creation. And tomorrow everything will be different. It all starts with an idea. Rubin calls this idea the seed. Everything is in it. Actually, he tells us about 4 phases in the creating process. So the first one is the seed. The second phase is the experimental phase. The third phase is the crafting. And the fourth and final phase is editing, more fine-tuning. When you create, maybe you recognize this, that there is a certain guiding hand, how he explains it, how he tells it. A guiding hand that guides you through the process. It's like you didn't know before how to do it, and then when you just start, you discover new things and you find solutions by just watching or listening what you have to do. When you are more organizing things before you start and you make a plan and you just follow this plan, then you are more crafting. And when you are discovering all the time, in every phase in the process what you're doing, maybe then you find the artist in yourself. So for me that's interesting to read. This is maybe why I don't like to make tutorials. Because the thing that works today won't work tomorrow. And the way how I paint something when I'm filming it won't not be the solution for someone else their painting, you know. So, like in life, you don't find it by thinking. You just see it and know it while you're doing it. He wrote a very funny thing about this. I will read it for you. He says in this chapter, demanding to control a work of art would be just as foolish as demanding that an oak tree grows according to your will. It remembered me of a conversation I had with the Dutch artist Michel Huisman for my Dutch podcast Zintuig. Michel was the first who told me honestly that he didn't create his artworks, but the artworks were from themselves. These had been created through his hands. So he found it was stupid to talk about my own work or his or her own work. It's just work and you were needed to let it become what it has become. I recognized what he was talking about, but couldn't understand it totally yet. After reading The Creative Act, this conversation became clear to me.
Ik vind heel erg raar, iedere keer als ik mijn werk zie na een poosje, dan is het alsof ik ervan vervreemd ben. Dan moet iemand mij bijna vertellen dat ik het gemaakt heb.
Hoe komt dat?
Omdat het proces niet zo is dat ik maak wat ik wil, maar dat ik gewoon alles opgeef om te maken wat er komen moet. Dus ik probeer steeds leeg te blijven. Leeg in de zin van geen oordeel hebben. Kijken.
Ja, dat herken ik wel op een andere manier, ja.
Dus ja. Ik was een keer in Basel en ik weet niet van wie het werk was, maar ik stond voor 2 schilderijen die naast elkaar hingen van 5 meter hoog bij 1,5 meter breed. En links zag ik een enorm, dus dat hele schilderij, daar stonden 3 grote roze flamingo's op. Mm-hmm. En dat ding daarnaast, er stond een tekst op. Dat was een Duitse tekst, er stond op: Zuerst wollte ich einen Eisbär malen, aber da kam eine Stimme von oben. Nein, kein Eisbären, flamingo's.
Het is wel een hele kinderlijke
die-
uitleg van deze.
Ja, maar die twee werken naast elkaar.
Ja.
Ik moest erom glimlachen. Het was
Ja.
ook duidelijk als humor bedoeld. Maar ik vond het wel glasheldere typering van wat je overkomt op het moment dat... Want voor alle duidelijkheid, iemand kan mijn werk vernieuwend vinden... of kan er, weet ik veel wat, kan het met iets associëren of weet ik het. Maar voor mij moet het zo zijn dat het mij ook verbaast. In de zin van... Als ik zie dat ik mezelf aan het herhalen ben... dan heb ik al bijna het gevoel dat ik lieg. Je
Ja.
kan iets willen uitdiepen. Je hebt een kraai op een tak gemaakt... en die maak je 8 keer of 20 keer.
Ja.
Maar als je dat je hele leven doet... dan wordt het een foefje.
Ja.
En daar heb ik niks op tegen als iemand dat doet. Alleen voor mij is het niet meer spannend. Ik wil reizen met mijn hoofd. Het is op het moment dat je het onbekende binnengaat... ook als je om het bekende gevraagd is... daarom neem ik bijna geen opdrachten aan. Dus ik wil mij verrast weten door dat wat ik niet verwacht had. Ik kan nog heel lang dood zijn. Ik wil nu graag meemaken wat ik niet gedacht had dat zou gebeuren.
For me, completion is an interesting chapter. When an art piece is completed, the story is not finished yet. As Rubin writes, when playing music for someone else, we hear it differently when we listen to it ourselves. I always prefer to show my work as it wasn't made by me. I need that distance to see what the work actually is able to be and what it eventually could need. Creating is complex. This book is only about that process and the book counts 400 pages. It is almost impossible to judge your work all alone, certainly right after you finish the work. The more we share, the more our skills improve, Rubin writes. That's true. The more I share, the more I receive. I receive new ideas while I share them. Living in fear and holding everything inside blocks this river, as Rubin tells. You are part of a streaming river, and all your artworks are chapters. Each chapter will be followed by the next chapter, so don't mind about the essence to tell the whole story in one artwork. That's not necessary. Rubin's style is really friendly, positive. He doesn't believe that putting two artists on one project in a competitive way would reach to a higher level. He thinks that a higher level is only possible by collaboration. It's not about competition. It's about collaboration. For me, it was interesting when he started writing about individuals and companies that signing in and concerning deadlines demanding for more work. He argues that this is undermining our focus. And of course that's true. But for me it's quite different actually, because all this business brings a certain energy with it as well. And I like that. So I can bring my stuff to a gallery and listen to what these owners tell me and speak with clients. And it feels like working and traveling at the same time. Or maybe a better comparison is it's like cooking dinner and listening to someone who's talking on the phone at the same time. When both are interesting, your dinner and the things that the one is telling through your phone, you may be still able to serve a good dinner. When both are not interesting, then the dinner will be disgusting. All this energy, all this energy out of this business will bring new ideas, so seeds as well. So I like that energy, but of course you must take care that it won't undermine your focus. But I know that Rubin is really into art in its purest as it can be. Well, that's a challenge for me. I think art is also about, well, what he writes, collaboration and working with galleries, companies, individuals, clients. For me is also a kind of collaboration, although these people are not the artists. But it's all helpful. The chapter openness made me really happy. Maybe it's more about life for me than about creating. I remember that the most important moments in life so far are the moments where I lost a certain control. A control that became a narrow road with strong beliefs and strong beliefs that blocked me to do what I would and could. Maybe thinking the impossible possible was the most important move for transformation. Of course, we feel comfortable and strong among all the things we gathered in our culture and our beliefs. But sometimes we feel that we are depending on it, and the contrary is true. All these things are depending on us. It's important to see this. This is also a chapter about quitting an impasse or the depression or whatever. The mistake we often make is that when we are feeling very bad, we want to quit and we think we have to leave. So we are in a bad situation and we say this is no good and we want to quit this situation. But we can't. So when you say I want to quit, you don't accept the situation and you won't be able to move, to go forward. The only way to quit is to accept the situation and to move on from this even bad situation. It's the only way. And this is in this chapter. It's so well written. So that's why it's about life, and creating is about life too, of course. It's nothing else than a representation of who we are. That's what he tells us in this book. And so that's why it doesn't make sense to compare our work to others' work. It doesn't make any sense, because we are all unique. So I don't like the word must read, but if there is a must read for an artist, and hopefully for more people, then it is this book that came out this year. In my opinion, it's a book about confidence, finding your way, and how to rely on something you feel that's right. So earlier in this video I spoke about finding this balance between the conscious and the unconscious, and then I said, I remember, it's relying on something you feel and that you know. I would erase the word know, because the funny thing is that I'm really in doubt if we know this. We only know what we know, and the amazing thing by creating is that there happens something we didn't know. You know what I mean? So I think you can learn to and train yourself in finding this balance, relying on what you feel, what is right. Give yourself any chance and opportunity to make mistakes as well. And then you will get to know what the right way is to succeed in a creation. So self-doubt is only a waste of time. You can do what you can do. You are able to do what you can. You are you, nothing less and nothing more. So I would like to end with a quote from a good friend of mine who passed away a few years ago. His slogan was, enough is more than a lot, because a lot is never enough. Thank you. See you next week.